الرحيم وبه نستعين إن الحمد لله نحمده ونشكره ونستعينه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهديه الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن نبينا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم عبد الله ورسوله أما بعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Indeed, all the thanks and all the praises are due to Allah the Almighty, who has made it possible for us to be together this evening out of His mercy and out of His grace. Allah, we thank you. Allah, we praise you, and forever we will always glorify your holy name. I beseech Allah to bestow His countless and blessings upon the soul of our teacher Muhammad Al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam and upon his household. May the peace and blessings of Allah be with you out there, dear listeners and viewers far and near, as we take the lesson tonight. And tonight is the family hour where we talk about issues concerning the family. Essentially, we talk about issues affecting marital relationships, issues affecting children upbringing, issues affecting men coping with women, women coping with men. And tonight we're going to be talking about one very important aspect of marriage, which is how do we identify and possibly prevent a dying marriage, a dying relationship. You know, a dying marriage, a dying relationship is a critical point in marital relationships where couples discover that they aren't adding value, to their relationship. They seem to have lost focus as regards how they started coping together, how they started living as one. Now they live in divergent ways. They live parallel lives. They live parallel lives at the same roof. How do we understand situations and instances where husband and wife who have started well and they had a very blossoming marital experience? How is it possible that marriage now becomes a ghost of itself, a home where it becomes like a storybook? It's a history. Once upon a time, we used to have this. Once upon a time, we used to be together. We used to do this together. But now things have changed, and things have changed for good, but for worst case instances and scenario. How do we therefore identify this with a view to precluding their occurrences? And if they are currently occurring, how do we go further in bringing about a solution or solutions to such ailing marriages? At this point, I pray for you and myself that Allah in His mercy will bless our homes and save us from dying marriages or dying relationships. Now, like I mentioned, a dying marriage or dying relationship is the one that no longer enlivens, the couple's marital experiences. It's no longer enjoyable. They're just in the marriage for the purpose of what the society will say. They're just staying there because, you will have heard particularly some of our women, some of our sisters, our daughters who would say, I'm just in the marriage because of my children. I'm just in the marriage because of whatever, not necessarily because of their partners, because they know that it has gotten to the point and the level where their partners, male or female, no longer add value to their marital experiences. And this to me is very, very sad. Now, how do we identify what went wrong? What went wrong to a marriage, or what could have gone wrong with a marriage that can possibly collapse that marriage? What would have gone wrong? Now, if you want to know what will have happened to the marriage, for example, you discover that this marriage is not working again, I think the best thing is to identify what were the things that had kept the marriage or marriages alive ab initio. Because it is one thing to get married, it is another thing to sustain the marriage. So let us try to dig deep tonight and identify what were those things that had kept the marriages alive. So it is with this, we're now going to we begin to track what are the things that are currently killing our marriages, and then finally we got to understand, okay, of course, once we're able to identify or create a diagnosis of what are currently killing our marriages, then we can say that these are the possible solutions. Once we bring what can kill it, then we know that this is a possible solution or part of the possible solutions to the ailing marriages. So now, how did we get here in our marital experiences? We used to be together, we used to eat together, we used to do everything together, but now everybody goes his or her separate ways, not out of the marriage. We're still married, but we know that things are no longer going the way they used to go. Things have changed. And like some people admitted, admissibly, they say things have really, really changed. Now, if you would like to know this, then I think the best thing is to identify what were the things that kept the marriage working ab initio. Once you remove those things that kept the marriages working ab initio, they can identify and track the things that might have gone wrong with the marriage that will lead it to implode, to use the word implode. Now, it's a kind of an implosion, caving in from within. Now, when couples, number one, let us try to check what are the things that are currently killing the marriages, as it were. When couples stop, when they stop making intentional effort at sustaining their marriages, at keeping their relationship alive. Ab initio, if you want to know, this was the lady you had been able, as a man, you went for her. And you did so many things. You made regular check-ins, regular calls. Some of us do not know how many calls we had made, to woo our current wives, to win them to our side. We made calls, we made regular check-ins, we tried to send messages, we tried to do so many things to create an attraction, a convivial environment where the two of us can live together in a peaceful and harmonious relationship, at least get in a relationship, all right? So that eventually we get married. We made a lot of sacrifices. But now we get comfortable. And how did we get comfortable? We begin to take our couples for granted. We begin to think that, I don't marry. I'm married, so it's no point, doing all these that we used to do in those days. That one is, we leave them for the younger ones. We are now older. Oh, and I ask the question, how old is your love? Right? Because if you don't do those things that you used to do, it shows that the love in the marriage is going to die off. And by dying off, it means that the marriage itself will cave in, it will implode. So by the time couples begin to get comfortable with themselves that, well, is it not my wife? Is it not my husband? He doesn't care. She doesn't care. And we do so many things thinking that my wife or my partner will continue to tolerate and accept whatever is it. Any kind of food I cook, he will eat. Or any kind of cloth I wear, that is for him. Anything, whether I brush my teeth or not, it doesn't matter. There's a problem here. So once we begin to take ourselves for granted this way, then we say this is one of the things that can gradually and quickly kill the marital experiences, and it makes the marriage to die. In fact, die very quickly. Now, furthermore, when we are able to stop what attracted us, we are able. This is like an oxymoron here. Now, we stopped doing what attracted us to ourselves an issue. We stopped doing those things. Now we don't care. We don't care about what those attractions were ab initio. Now we start doing things that apparently looks like we are taking our partners for granted. If you ask some couples, when last did you hug your husband? When last did you hug your wife? When last did you kiss your husband? When last did you kiss your wife? When last did you do this or do that and stuff like this? They said, we have left that for the children. Oh, for seriously? Left that for the children? But you are still in marriage. They're still married. That is a sign that the marriage is dying. It's a sign that the marriage is collapsing. And it's not collapsing with divorce. The two of them are not divorced. They are still in marriage, but they're no longer enjoying the blossoms of marriage, the fruits of marriage, as it were. And furthermore, when couples take it as a part of their penchant, they develop habit of shouting at one another or nagging at one another, and then placing one another under constant surveillance and evaluation or constant criticism. This can easily kill a relationship. So we say when that thing and this thing begin to happen in marriages, we say the marriage is dying off. When the home becomes like a courthouse where the husband has to come back home and answer queries, or the wife has to come back home and she's put on the spot and answer in a kind of investigation here. She's been investigated constantly. Why this? Why didn't you do this? Why that? That it makes the person to feel so uncomfortable, right? And you feel like, what is the meaning of all this? Are you trying to turn me like a baby? So it makes the marriage to lose the steam, right? When the only manner through which husband and wife talk to themselves is by shouting or nagging, that is the means of communication, then that means that the relationship is sick and it is going to die, or it can possibly die. Now, when we embark on verbal abuse of ourselves, husband and wife, this can reduce our self-esteem and make our hearts to depart from one another. In other words, at this point in time, we begin to live parallel lives. Thus, couples stay together, whereas their hearts are no longer together. They're just a marriage for convenience, the marriage for what the society would say. But they're not in a marriage because of what they really, really want to do. They're just there just to keep the home front, whatever, for whatever reason. So that means at that point in time, the marriage is sick and it can possibly die. Next point is when couples, husband and wife, are no longer fulfilling their conjugal obligations dutifully and intentionally. And I would like us to underscore what I meant by dutifully and intentionally. Now, to be clear, I have had some couples, for example, the male, and they said, I can't kill myself. I can't do more than this. In conjugal affair between husband and wife, you can't kill yourself. Now you marry, you can't kill yourself. No, it is not good enough. And so many things could be responsible for this. As a man, once you can eat anything, you drink anything, you eat all the junks, you drink all the so-called soft drink, everything canned, everything packaged. You're not living naturally. Then you're going to kill yourself. And some of us, we feel so uncomfortable that anything I do, anyhow I do it, my wife no go care. My husband doesn't matter. So even if I don't give him anything, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be. Then that is a sickness. It shows that your marriage is sick. How can you say that anyhow I do it, my wife doesn't matter? It should matter to you. There has to be a conversation, either verbal conversation or non-verbal expression that shows that it's okay or it's fine. If you are not meeting your conjugal obligations dutifully, then we say the marriage is sick and it's possibly going to die. So the point here is this: we have to be intentional and be dutiful as far as our conjugal obligations are concerned, because this is something that no other person can do for you except you. Okay, so with that, we need to regulate what we take. Anyway, that is part of the solution. Anyway, we're coming to that very quickly. But the point is, what can kill the marital relationship is that when a man feels so relaxed, lethargic about whether or not he's performing his conjugal obligation, it doesn't really matter to him, and he feels that my wife is going to take it whichever way I give it to her. It shows that your marriage is sick, and it can die, or it may die. May Allah protect us and protect our homes. Now, the next point is when you start showing appreciation to your spouses. When you start showing appreciation to your husband or to your wife, it shows that your man is sick and this guy is possibly dying or is possibly going to die. How can you take it for granted that whether I tell him thank you or tell her thank you, it doesn't matter. It matters. You should appreciate yourself. So the moment you stop appreciating yourself, a marriage is sick and it can possibly die. Because it is not enough for you to say that I'm in a marriage. How can you be in a marriage where you are not being appreciated, where your efforts are not being recognized? At least a thank you should do, right? So when there is no appreciation going on between husband and wife, either directly or indirectly, then we say there is a problem with the marriage. And what we say, the marriage can die or will possibly die. Furthermore, when you erroneously believe that your wife or husband will continue to love you, notwithstanding whether or not you reciprocate the gesture, this is entitlement, right? When you are so filled with this, you're so filled with entitlement that you feel entitled that, well, it doesn't really matter that my wife will continue to love me, my husband will continue to love me. He has no choice or she has no choice. You lied because it shows that your marriage is sick and it can possibly die, or it will die. It's a matter of time. Once you take it as something gratuitous excuses that no matter what happens, my wife will continue to love me, my husband will continue to love me, then there is a problem here. Because at this point in time, one man or one woman out there will be the one struggling to keep the home front, to keep the marriage. The other person will feel relaxed, thinking that it's all jolly well. It's all jolly well and that there is no problem about it. With this, I think we say there is a problem with the marriage, and that is in and of itself a major challenge to any marriage relationship. So having said that, it is important for us to note that as couples, what can possibly kill our marriages would be an instance where we are just in a relationship, one party is giving, the other party is receiving, and is not showing appreciation. Whenever this happens, we say that the marriage is sick and it will possibly die. Now, these are part of the things that can show that a marriage is sick and that it can or it will possibly die if the necessary steps are not taken. Now, what are the steps? What are the steps that we can take, to keep our marriages alive? Like I mentioned, talking about dying relationship or dying marriages, it is a problem in and of itself, because when you live in a dying marriage, then it means that you are not going to enjoy the benefit of the marriage itself. You're not going to enjoy the benefit of the marriage. But what can keep the marriage, as it were, nice and gentle and easy and convivial is when you do the best you can and be intentional about sustaining it. Now, what can we do, therefore, if we live in a dying relationship? What can we do to make sure that this relationship does not die? Number one is intentional effort. Intentional effort at sustaining the marriage will keep the marriage alive all the time. Because now, this is in Islamic parlance, this is what makes marriage to be an act of ibadah. It is not necessarily governed by law of reciprocity, but I'm doing it because I have a commitment, because it is not only between me and my wife, or it's not only between me and my husband, it is between us and the Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we are doing it not because of necessarily the human connection. So we're looking at the spiritual angle to it now. So I'm doing all that I do because it is also an act of worship to keep the marriage alive. So intentional effort will keep the marriage alive. So I'm not comfortable. I'm not going to be comfortable that, okay, everything's just going to work out fine Or I'm not going to take my couple or my wife or my husband for granted, but I'm going to be very intentional and deliberate in everything that I do. So when husband does his bit intentionally and the wife does her bit intentionally, then it shows that the marriage itself will survive the vicissitudes of the time and the ages. So number one, intentional effort will keep our marriages alive. Number two, the things that whenever we think about what how we started our marriage, it connects. It makes us to connect with our past. Those things that we used to do before. Whenever we think about them, it makes us to connect with it. So reverberating or reinvigorating or re-energizing those things that kept us together ab initio will also be one of those things that can keep the marriages alive. So essentially, when you continue to do what kept you guys attracted to yourself in the first place, then the marriage is not going to die. For example, if there is a particular play that you guys used to play together, don't allow the fact that you have been in the marriage for quite a while, don't allow it to now make you to stop those play that you have been playing together. Or there is a kind of a name which you call yourselves, which might sound romantic. Don't allow any other name to replace it. For example, the father of this, or Baba this, or Abu this, or whatever. Don't allow it to replace the loving name with which you used to address yourself. Now, if there is anything that is romantic, for example, you have regular hugs before, make it a principle in your house that you will regularly hug yourself. Now, you're not going to stop hugging yourself, all right? And if you can sustain this, that means that you can also sustain the livingness of your marriages. The next point is when you avoid the attitude of master-servant relationship. Because what happened, what else can we call a master-servant relationship? Other than when you keep your wife or husband under constant surveillance and assessment or evaluation. Every time your husband is being knocked at, every time your husband is being shouted at, it creates a barrier. So rather than shouting at your wife, rather than nagging at your husband, why don't we have a positive conversation? So having a positive conversation, healthy conversation, will make the relationship to be romanticized. Okay? And then with this kind of romantic name calling, my darling, my baby, my sweetheart, and all this stuff, is going to make your marriages to be, to be loving and be so nice, right? So with this, we say, keeping the marriage alive, we need to have conversation and not shouting at ourselves. It is not right for you as a husband or a wife to constantly take interest in shutting up your wife or shutting up your husband. For example, you tell your husband, shut up, or you tell your wife, shut up. This is not right for a healthy marriage. So for us to revive the health of our marriages, we need to converse and not scream or shout at ourselves. Now, furthermore, like I mentioned, part of the thing that can indicate that a marriage is dying is when either the husband or the wife is no longer fulfilling his or her conjugal relationship. Now, it is not enough for you to say, I can't do more than this. No. Ask questions. What went wrong? I know with time and age, strength can atrophy and can reduce. Yes, it is possible. But then extra effort needs to be taken with a view to, at least from the part of being healthy, in order to fulfill your conjugal affairs. So what can we do? What can we do? Be intentional about the time when you and your wife will have to be together for intimacy. Being intentional about it is this. As a man, you need to exercise regularly. A man that does not exercise, I'm sorry, may not last long in the other room. I might be wrong in this, because it is not a joke. Conjugal or intimate affair, you need some strength. You need to be active. Except the other way around, where you want your own wife to be active, then you want to relax. Then that has to be an agreement. The husband and the wife need to be active in their conjugal or intimate affairs. The idea of even if the husband is active, the idea of a woman, pardon my word, remaining, in bed like a log of wood without doing anything to add value to the intimacy between husband and wife it's not acceptable. And I've had some husbands who have come to me during counseling session. They have complained about their wives during intimacy. She just lie down like log of wood, no activity, nothing. She just stay there. And once you are done, you just leave her. She just remains like that. This is not good for marital relationship. So we need to activate our conjugal and intimate affair in order that both of us, both the husband and the wife, can have the best of experiences, at least to the best of our ability. Furthermore, still on this is that it is not enough for you to say, I can't keep myself, I've done what I can do. No. I think sometimes it is good, even if it's not all the time. Sometimes it is good to ask questions, like saying, how far? Did I try? Stuff like this. You can ask such questions, it's not bad. If you ask your wife or you ask your husband, well, what would you like? Or in terms of styles, what style do you prefer? And all this stuff, it could bring and it can kind of spice up your conjugal experiences. And this is important, Rasulullah Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he was addressing this issue, the case of Jabir ibn Abdullah, he wasn't, no bashfulness in it. No bashfulness in it. He wasn't bashful in talking to Jabir, is it Jabir ibn Abdullah, or Abdullah ibn Jabir, I can't remember now, one of the Sahaba, and he told him exactly what he was to do in terms of intimate affair vis-a-vis his marital experiences. So I think it is important for us as couples to ask questions and then put on the best that we can do. And on this, I think it is better for us to live healthy life. Live healthy life. Avoid too much AC. And this is a killing. A lot of us think it's enjoyment to stay under AC 247. Oh boy. Like they kill your bones. How can you last when you're just under like frozen chicken or whatever? No, it's not possible. Take things that are natural. Be intentional about what you eat. Ask questions if you don't know, because so that you can have healthy marital relationship and avoid taking what people call, what do you call it now? These things that energize men and make them to perform very quickly and they drop, because it can affect your health in a very bad way. Rather than taking, they call it Viagra, rather than taking those stuff, why don't you live a healthy life? And this can help you to maintain a balanced conjugal affair maritally. May Allah have mercy on us. Now, the next thing that can, to light up your marriages and make it to come alive is when you show appreciation. You can't underestimate appreciation. It's the time to say, oh, thank you, darling, or thank you, babe, or can I do something to assist you? And then let me ask you, Mr. Husband, okay, husband, are you better than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Rasulullah will appreciate his wives and even participate in house chores. He will assist his wife in doing things in the house, mending the clothes, arranging stuff in the house, and all this he does. So if you are not better than Rasulullah, so why don't you show appreciation verbally and then, through action, so that with that, your wife knows that she's been appreciated. Similarly, the wives, appreciate your husband. Don't let it be that enough of this comparison, negative comparison of your husband. Why are you not like XYZ? Why are you not like ABC? Why must he be like XYZ or ABC? Your husband is your husband. That is who he is. You don't see him before you marry him. Haba. So let us show appreciation for ourselves. And with this, I believe that our marital experience is going to be spiced up. Furthermore, let us not make the mistake. Part of the thing we can do to brighten up and make our marriages to come alive is don't you ever make a mistake by thinking that my husband and my wife will always love me, She will always love me. He will always love me. No optional lie. There are options. Let not be that you are just in a relationship, whereas the mind is somewhere else. This is not a healthy marital experience. So we have to avoid it as much as it is possible. So what can assist is don't take yourselves for granted, right? So when things are happening, try to address it. And as much as if your wife is giving love, you to reciprocate, give love in return. If your wife is trying to come up with an idea that can romanticize your relationship, you, the husband, reciprocate. And it's sad to know that some men, they're so busy with everything. Every time it's they're on their phones, they're on their laptop, they're on the TV. They don't have time to sit down and have healthy conversation with their wives or with their husband. This is, to me, this is intolerable. So we shouldn't take ourselves for granted. We should try much as it is possible to elicit responses. When your husband is doing something good, you to reciprocate. The law of reciprocity comes in here. So that when he's trying to do something in the house, you also engage yourself in doing something in order that both can be together in the business of making the marriage to work. Now, finally, don't allow your husband to be the one, or the wife to be the one that struggles to maintain the home. Do the best that you can. Don't be a gold digger, whether the husband or the wife. Try to do the best that you can to always contribute your own quota towards the success of your marriage. And I don't like husbands who always place unnecessary burdens on their wives in the name of let her do it. And I had a case of recently when a man just pushed the bulk of all the responsibilities to the wife. I mean, what makes you to be a responsible husband if you don't perform your role? Now, when the wife comes in to assist, then she's only assisting in that regard. But don't make it when she starts assisting you, do not turn the table around and make it as part and parcel of her responsibility to continue to carry those burdens and responsibilities. That to me is unacceptable. And please, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. So these are the things that I have for us tonight, and I pray Allah in His mercy to bless our understanding and knowledge and make our marriages to be safe. Now, having said that, as we're talking tonight, I was looking at some comments. I actually really don't take time to read the comment, but for tonight, I'm going to read some of this comment because of some of the important messages that some of our brothers, especially those coming from outside the country, have sent. So permit me to pick up the phone and then we can take a look at the comments that have been sent so far. Okay, now okay, the first okay, there are two important comments. If you can still keep your comments coming, I will take them as they come. Brother or sister, I don't know, Nami Eden, I believe this is not from Nigeria. You are seeking to know what if she talks too much. Okay, it's a man now, it's a man. What if she talks too much? If your wife talks too much, you can advise her, that is to say that you don't really like the way she talks so much. You can advise her to reduce those tendencies of talking that much, which is you consider as being too much. However, you can also meet her on the same at the same level and engage her in positive conversation in order not to make it assume that your wife is actually talking too much. Actually, if your wife is the type that loves such engagement, then let her have it. Create time for her to express herself, of course, without crossing the boundaries, just like you mentioned, Brother Nami Eden, that sometimes she talks too much. Now, you also added that I will appreciate if she shut up. No, I'm sorry, I won't agree with you on that. I do not like husband who will tell their wife to shut up. This is not right. Please don't do it, please. Okay? Let your wife be free to express herself in your presence rather than shutting her up. You have to be a good husband to her. That is the reason why she is your wife. She's your wife, not your slave. She's not your help. She is a woman that you have chosen as a wife. So if you have chosen her as a wife, keep staying with her as a wife that she is to you. I think that is better for us. So you can keep the comments coming since we have decided to go through the comments tonight. Sister Aisha said hi. Hi to you too. May Allah bless you. And my wife, Hajia Zainab, may Allah bless you. Jazakumullah khairan. Um, uh, okay, Zua 8451. Jazakumullah khairan too. I really appreciate you. Let's keep the comments coming. If you have anything to add or say or questions to ask, I think we can say something like this. Brother or sister Latif, okay, this is a sister, Latif Habiba. Jazakillah khair. May Allah bless and reward you abundantly. So let's take a few moments to go through some of the comments that we have tonight. So while we still wait for the comments to come, let me try to reiterate. Oh, Sister Aisha said, hi to you too. May Allah bless you. The point is, let me try to refer to what my brother Nami Ed said in respect of shutting your wife up. I know quite a number of men are in this category of trying to shut up or shut down their wives. These are no men, honestly. And pardon me for saying this. These are literally what you call the bullies amongst men. You don't have to be a bully. The best thing is get your wife on your side, be on the same page with her, and don't bully her into silence by making her to shut up if you are at home with her. So it is better that we have healthy conversations, healthy relationships, healthy discussions at home, rather than making your wife to feel unwanted, rather than making your husband to feel unwanted during a conversation process. And with this, we're going to have better relationship and marital experience. Like I said, let's keep the comments coming, and we give some time for that to come. Perchance we have some other people trying to drop their comments, and then we're going to take those comments. I particularly want to appreciate some of our brothers from outside the country, and it's quite impressive that from outside the country, a lot of callers have called, and this to me is well appreciated, and I'm not taking it for granted, because I understand how much effort you will have made to reach out to my page or to in Nigeria, all the way from wherever you called from. I really, really appreciate you. Okay, let's see if there are other comments here. We give a few more minutes to take those comments, and then we can call it off tonight. Okay, I think we're not having more comments coming, so we will have to call it a date tonight. It is my prayer that Allah in His mercy will bless our homes and bless our relationship and make us to live happily on earth and make us to dwell eternally in Jannah after our demise from earthly life. I sincerely want to appreciate you all for, okay, the comments are coming right now, for the time you have taken, Brother Sharif, for Sharif Olayemi. Jazakallah khairan, sir. May Allah continue to bless you, sir. Thank you. Jazakallah khairan too. May Allah continue to bless you too. I really, really appreciate you. May Allah bless you and reward you abundantly. Okay, we still hope that more comments will come if there are any, so that we can wrap up the session for tonight. So, like I advised my brother Nami Eden, I want to sincerely appeal that take it easy with your wife. Don't shut her up. Don't tell her to keep quiet unnecessarily, unduly. She likes talking too much. You can have a conversation around it, and then you can be on the same page with this. And I do believe sincerely that your relationship is going to get better, inshallah, by the day. All right. Having said that, we're going to end the session tonight, praying Allah in His mercy to keep us safe, healed and hearty and healthy until we meet again, inshallah, on Sunday for family hour. And of course, the fifth hour comes up the same time on Saturday, and the fifth hour on Saturday, and family hour on Sunday. If you want to reach out to me on the lines, you can always reach out on 080 668 28576. I repeat, 080 668 28576. For those coming from outside the country, you can add +234, +234, and with that you get through to the line with the addition of the code. On that note, I want to sincerely thank and appreciate you all for sticking around with us tonight. I hope to see you again, inshallah, next next episode on Saturday. We shall be coming up with, inshallah, with the fifth hour. Barakallahu fikum wa jazakumullahu khair al-jaza. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursalin. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.